Hi, this is Day by Day coming to you during trading hours of October 19th. It's 3:36 p.m. Eastern Time, and we are already getting to the nitty-gritty of that particular MTF I did a couple of days ago, and we were in this fear zone. I wasn't sure if we would get this pop, and we did. But now it has cleared up the 4 hour better than it did before. The reason is because we had sell pressure down, and here we had buy pressure up in this 4 hour MTF. Now, the Jaws pattern is very similar here. On the daily, the Jaws pattern isn't even close to being done, and that's why I see this as, I guess, what Ellioticians call a B wave, and I don't do the Elliott wave stuff, but anyhow, and I see lower to come. Now, I do see on the 4 hour that this is a rogue wave. Basically, it started from the hourly that created the hourly reversal. Now, the hourly still hasn't let go. It's embedded, and that's why I'm still looking higher as price continues to squeeze up into this zone, which now looks like it's geared more towards Tuesday with symmetry. If I go to a 2 hour, same thing. It's embedded over here bullishly. If I go to a 4 hour, you've seen it. You've got the rogue wave here, which is like this counter reactive wave here. The mid Celt channel is turning up, the top Celt band is turning down. We have a supply zone right here. The hints start to come right here, where I have what I call this sell cross pressure on the downside. Greeny is doing nothing. That means that volume isn't really good, and this is probably a short squeeze more than anything. If I go to the 2-day, it's on its way down. If I go to the 3-day, it's on its way down. More pressure downward. If I go to a 4-day, it's still on its way down. If I go to a 5-day, it's on its way up into an embedded state, which later turns me more bullish once it finds support. And that's a key thing to describe here in the MTF, because if I see that this 6-day greeny is rising, I know that under the covers, in a zoom out perspective, there is still rising pressure, more work to be done here to the upside, which followed that fractal that I caught right here, which is extremely similar. And you know my technique is to zoom out as far as you can to find these, and the reason is because for them to morph and to continuously morph, it's going to take time. And because of that time that it takes to predict, or that time that it takes to morph, you're able to predict the coming time, the short coming time, meaning the next few weeks ahead, without too much morphing. You can sort of predict the trend. Okay, I'm looking at this. This has the same pattern. The trend is relatively up before it shatters down. I'm looking at this, same thing, same exact pattern, and therefore I'm looking up before I look down in a similar way. Now, this is a very dramatic down move, and I'm basically just simulating what 2007 did. I don't know whether it's going to be that crazy yet, but I suspect that as we reach closer to this pivot area, which with time would stretch to, let's say, here before it really starts coming down. So if we take this horizontal line and we put it here, we could see that the vertical little dash mark that I've landed here lands at about January 2020. And once we're closer to January 2020, I'll be able to dig in a lot more with more detail. My techniques are more refined than they ever have been, and I've been adding things to the MTF arsenal, which mostly came in this summer when funny enough, I went for a swim and I had this idea and I wanted to try it, and then I back tested it and it was working extremely well and ended up being probably that 10% piece of the MTF that I was missing for key momentum timing in history. Whereas now I could see the green move up, I could see the green move, and I could pinpoint more accurately where I think we are in time, because sometimes you get these rogue greenies in different spots, and what it does is it creates different micro action. Even though the trending action is similar, it creates different micro action, and as a result of that micro action, the timing becomes different with all the subwaves inside of the smaller time frames. And this allows me to better pinpoint those, and as a result, the MTF has been much more accurate. So coming back to this point in time, and we see this hourly and we still see price grinding higher, we're looking for this top, and what we're looking for is a real-time signal. Now once we get over here, I'll be able to tell, hey, has greenie dropped? Is selling pressure being created yet? Because it leads price by a good margin, and I'll be able to start seeing how the greenies on each particular time frame create that chain reaction and feedback loop in the sentiment model. Now, I've made this target actually a little bit lower, and I'm going to show you why. When I go to a 3-day chart, what I notice here is that the Kelp channel right here, which I have set to a 20 EMA, is curving down, and you could see this curvature coming right into this zone right around here. And that zone is at roughly that 278 to 282 area, but it's curving downward, which sort of gives me this intuition like it could be a fast rogue wave down into this. Now looks like an extended, because of the time that this new 4-hour rogue is creating, it's now extending itself into, looks like it's more like October 22nd or so, versus more in the mid-range that I expected before. And that happens. That happens because of basically put-call ratios changing and people expecting the same thing, and basically money fighting sides on each particular time frame, and it creates the least expected path. You know, you're hoping for the timing of your call to be on this particular day, or your put to be on this particular day, and it doesn't come through. The money makers, you know, try to make both sides expire, and it makes it tricky. It makes it more of a gamble if you are trading options. And anyhow, that's besides the point, but it just explains why these sentiment models can extend with time. So that about does it, and I think this is a fairly good expectation here, and we can stop the video here. And please be sure to tap the like button and subscribe to my YouTube channel. And I really appreciate passing the word around on my main YouTube channel and helping me grow the subscriber list in the YouTube channel. And I hope to provide more of this free content, and I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you.